guys, welcome back to my channel. So I'm hanging out with my husband and my in-laws this weekend, but I'm stealing a few minutes to check in with you guys and to share some of the books that we've been chatting about this weekend. So I wrote them down. Came with a list written on sticker paper from my kiddo. But here's my list. So these are the books that we've been chatting about, because as our conversations often do, they turn to books that we've read, books that we've seen, books that we would want to read. I don't share with them my TBR. My TBR is kind of scary for people who don't read, like booktube community reads is what I'm saying. So in any case, here are the books that we've been chatting about today. And if you've read them, then I guess you get a point. I don't have many points. On this list, but maybe you do. What's really interesting about this list is that it reflects other people's reading taste. So these are not books that I would necessarily choose. These are not books that I would pick up myself. But when someone else talks about them, especially someone who's read the book and really enjoyed it, and they just kind of wax poetic about the type of writing, it makes me want to pick them up. So this list that I wrote down is not just a list that I'm sharing with you guys. It's a list of books that I may be reading soon. So here's the list. So let me know if you've read them. And yeah, I'm not going to sing because I don't want to embarrass my family. But yeah, here are the books. First one is Relic by Douglas Preston and Lincoln Child. I have never read anything by this duo, but now I want to. Relic is the title. Wilderness by Robert B. Parker is another one. And I haven't read this. I've never heard of the author. He's a very popular author. I've never read anything by this author. Relic by Douglas Preston and Lincoln Child. Wilderness by Robert B. Parker. Third title is In Cold Blood by Truman Capote. So far, the only Truman Capote writing I have perused is Breakfast at Tiffany's. I haven't read anything else by Capote. So In Cold Blood is crime fiction. Yeah, it's a crime fiction. I think this is a story where he said it's like a nonfiction novel, because it's a novel based on real events. So I want to read this. I want to read this. This is definitely on my TBR now. So In Cold Blood by Truman Capote is the third title. Then of course we had to chat about Clive Cussler, because that's one of my husband's favorite authors, as is my brother-in-law's. So they're not brothers, my husband's sister's husband. So they're in-laws, and they both love Clive Cussler's writings. So I thought I feel like that's a really interesting little tidbit about these two guys. So whenever they get around, they always be chatting about Clive Cussler. And Cussler has now died, but even before he passed away, that he created this franchise, the Dirk Pitt franchise. That's the main character in a lot of the Clive Cussler books. And so he had people who would guest write with him, I guess, is how you would say it. So far, I've read one Clive Cussler book, and I see the appeal. I don't think Clive Cussler's books are necessarily for me, because the book that I read was was written in the 1970s. So next title that we chatted about was Zero Fail by Carol Leoning, which I read. So I shouldn't really get a point, because it's a book that I suggested. Like, it's a title that I contributed to the conversation. But I've read it, so I guess I get a point. Zero Fail is about the Secret Service and how the Secret Service protects the president. Like, that's one of the main functions of the Secret Service, which is to protect the president and the presidential family and high-ranking politicians in the United States administration. They also deal with counterfeiting, which is something that I learned when I read that book, because I always thought the Secret Service was just the president's security. It's more than that. But Zero Fail is a really, really insightful book into how the Secret Service has been working, what are some of its failures, some of its big failures, and some of the lessons learned, like places to improve, that kind of thing. Really, really, really good book. I would highly recommend it. Then of course we chatted about Wizard of Oz series, because whenever whenever our group gets together, we chat a little bit about books from our childhood. And so my sister-in-law chatted about the Wizard of Oz books. She was reading, I don't remember which one she said she was reading, but yeah, we chatted about that series. So if you've read the Wizard of Oz, any of the Wizard of Oz books, then you get a point, as you would have gotten if you've read any of those titles. I'm sorry for the awkward angle. I'm holding the phone in my hand. Then we didn't chat about this book, but it's a book that I saw when I was looking up the other books that my brother-in-law chatted about. So it's the 2-Minute Rule. The author is Robert Crace, and it's about police detective, and it's like right in line with some of the other books that we chatted about, not necessarily this time, but other times. And so it's a book that I added to my TBR because of finding it. So yeah, those are the titles. So let me go again, just in case you lost track, because I chatted a little bit. So Relic was one title, Wilderness is another title, In Cold Blood, any Clive Cussler book, Zero Fail, the Wizard of Oz series, any of the books, and the 2-Minute Rule. If you've read any of those books, then you get a point each. So that's our Vlogmas challenge for today. Let me know in the comments down below how you did. Like I said, I've read one. I've read one title, so hopefully you did better than me. No, I read two, because I got a point for Clive Cussler and I got a point for Zero Fails. I have 2 points. Yay. Let me know in the comments if you like this kind of grainy on the fly kind of video. Hopefully it's good. Tomorrow will be better. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you're getting a chance to spend some quality time with your family and still reading some books. And if you're not reading now, it's because you're having fun with all the Christmas stuff and watching a lot of Vlogmas videos. So if you're not reading, then hopefully you're doing other things that you enjoy as much or even better. So thank you for sharing some of that time with me, and until we come back for another video, happy reading. Bye.